I'm Ashton from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. Today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Jordan Freed, CEO and founder of NFT.com. Jordan, welcome to the show, and thanks so much for taking the time to come on.
Thanks for having me, Ashton. Looking forward to it.
Likewise, there's so much to dive into with NFTs right now, since NFTs last year exploded with the rise of CryptoPunks, digital apes, monkeys, but there's a lot more functionality behind NFTs that's yet to be tapped into, like real world assets being tokenized and so on. So there's so much to dive into, and I know NFT.com is playing a large role in that. Maybe we can start by talking about where does NFT.com start with NFTs?
Yeah, so it's a great question. First, how we're using NFTs today is likely not how we're going to be using them in 10 years' time. That's the first statement I'll make. The second statement is if you're listening to this and you're lucky enough to be alive in 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to own an NFT, even if you think you're not. The space is exploding at a very rapid pace, and the technology is very interesting from the perspective that it's the first time in human history that we can assign digital property rights to people on the internet and then start to onboard things of value in the physical world into the digital world in the form of a token. At NFT.com, we're of the belief that everything of value in the physical world will at some point be represented in this digital world in the form of a token that we will be tracking it on the ledger. We see that macro opportunity as, an opportunity in the tens of trillions of dollars and could even surpass the entire market cap of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies altogether. We're really talking about title deeds to properties, authenticity certificates of things like watches, or title deeds to, cars, Michael Jordan rookie cards, personal seat licenses and season tickets to seat 5 and 6, row 7, section 101 at your favorite sporting venue. All of this is really where the NFT space is going. We're seeing that manifest a little bit today. For those listening that come from the gaming world, their real world trading, as known as RWT in the gaming world, used to be the act of someone in World of Warcraft or RuneScape or Minecraft starting to create secondary markets around these games where kids would take the currency of these games or the characters or the items in the games and sell them outside of the game. In Web 1 and Web 2, that was a violation of the terms of service of these game environments. But now we're seeing the advent of Web 3 gaming, where Decentraland is a place where you can own a virtual piece of land and has its own currency, mana, which can be taken outside of the game and sold for Bitcoin or Ethereum or even USDC. So the space is moving rapidly. Where NFT.com is positioned is for this to work, we need to solve some of the core problems on the internet today. And those are that users have really harmful relationships and abusive relationships with the platforms that we use. YouTubers constantly face the threat of arbitrary algorithm changes, which can see their view count on their videos. Their videos can either get shadow banned or they can get demonetized also arbitrarily and stop making that AdSense revenue share that they have with YouTube. The same is true on Google. The same is true on Amazon, where people who make full-time incomes with fulfillment by Amazon can arbitrarily see their products or their reviews be delisted, or Amazon even could come in and start white labeling and competing with them. We need to rethink the relationship that users have with platforms, which is why at NFT.com, we're putting the users first. We don't view it as a domain name that I own or a domain name that we, a company, owns. We view it as a domain name that the community owns and a platform that the community owns. It's fully open source, open license, fully decentralized. Anyone in the world can come to NFT.com and eventually mint NFT.com/Ashton or NFT.com/Blockwest Capital or Blockchain Interviews or whatever that brand is and own that in the form of a token. You'll have a gallery if you're a collector, a storefront if you're a creator. And our vision, Ashton, is that this is the place where you'll show everyone in the world everything that you've collected, be it your diploma, a title deed to a real world property or a metaverse property, or just a really cool Bored Ape or CryptoKitty or Doodle that you're super proud of.
Very cool, Jordan. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, it's really fascinating to see how the gaming world has transitioned from real world trading and making black markets outside of the game to now having legitimate markets where gamers can actually own the items that they've worked so hard on in the game. And to move forward with that and expand out to all of the other industries with real world assets and land titles, like you said, it's going to revolutionize everything. But where do we start? Because as you mentioned, this is a decade and more long path. So where do we go from starting today with NFTs to where we're going to be when all of this comes to fruition?
Sure. The core problem with our internet experience in 2022 is, and my bold statement here is just that the internet in its current form is flawed. It was never supposed to be this way. We got here through really well-intentioned people who wanted to offer us free social networking, free web searches, free messaging, right? Email. How do we keep all those things free? The companies providing those services to us have to monetize in some way. So they have this economic incentive to create these ad platforms that mine our data and can very specifically target advertisements to it based on our preferences. The way they know our preferences is by reading our emails, reading our messages, literally listening and following everything we do, what pages we like, who we're interacting with. And that's not the kind of digital online identity that we as internet users should have. Web3 technology allows us to literally rethink how we want to architect a user's relationship with a platform. And the Ashton token or the Jordan token or the Block West Capital token, those tokens really, we view them as not just NFTs, but founding primitives of your decentralized Web3 identity. You will use that token for single sign-on authentication into the NFT.com platform. That is your user credential. No more usernames and passwords anymore. So if you're somebody who forgets your password, or you're just tired of having to use LastPass or 1Password to remember all of it. Now you just need to manage a cryptocurrency wallet and keep it secure. You need a ledger device to do it. There's lots of easy ways to do it. But if you have a crypto wallet, you can just simply have that token inside that wallet. And when you log into NFT.com, we check that you have that token, and now that profile is yours. Now, here's the other thing, Ashton. If you'd like to sell that profile to another Ashton in the world, maybe Ashton Kutcher hits you up and says, hey, I want to be NFT.com/Ashton. You can sell that too. That's our position, which is interesting and a clear distinction from Web 2, which is a clear violation of Facebook, Metas, and Twitter and TikTok's terms of service. That's not approved behavior today in Web 2. People do it all the time, but if you get caught doing it, you lose those accounts forever. So that is a very clear difference between where we are today and where we believe the space is going. And I think you'll have better relationships between users and the platforms that they use.
Great point, Jordan. And you mentioned there about decentralized identities and owning your own information and data. And I think that's super important because right now, a lot of people are thinking about NFTs as digital JPEGs and punks and apes, but there's so much more than that. And we'll get to that point where they are real world assets and land deed titles. But something that can be done right now is the decentralized identities. And I feel like that is...
Yes. So if you have to, this is a really big vision. You have to somehow start at Ashton. And we put a lot of deep thought into how you started. And I couldn't help but go back to what got me my start in the whole world of blockchain and decentralization. What got all of us our start? Where did the whole space come from? January 3rd, 2009. That's the date. That's the date of the Genesis block. It's the Bitcoin Genesis block. And when you think of a moment of Genesis, when you think of what that means, and it's a special moment, really so special that the founding person, whether it's an individual or a team, decided to encrypt a message in that Bitcoin Genesis block. Chancellor on brink of second bailout. It was the Times.co.uk, the Times paper, their cover story for the day. It's important to also make a statement. It's important to also be thoughtful about how do you birth these communities. Facebook decided that everyone with a harvard.edu email address would be their Genesis block, right? The first users of Facebook. Now, those users never got governance rights. They're not on the board of directors. They never got equity. They just got their data jacked and monetized for literally the rest of their lives. We didn't want that to happen. So we came up with this concept of what if we invited 10,000 people from all over the world to form our Genesis block, to form the Genesis moment of NFT.com. What if they didn't just get their, have the lucky position to be early and get their profiles early. But what if they were our beta testers? What if they were on our board of directors via a DAO mechanism, a decentralized autonomous organization where they have governance rights? What if they could submit proposals and advocate for layer 1 protocols that they thought we should integrate after Ethereum? Should we support Solana NFTs or Hedera Hashgraph NFTs or Polkadot or Algorand or Avalanche NFTs? All of that is possible, and you need that core user group. Bitcoin's really Bitcoin because everyone that has bought it has a super high net promoter score. If you look at the concept of a net promoter score, it's typically used in large companies like Amazon or Microsoft or Apple to determine how likely someone who works there is to recommend employment to a friend or someone who they know to also come work there. What is their level of happiness? Well, if you actually rank net promoter scores of people in the Bitcoin community, or just look at net promoter scores of people who try veganism and CrossFit, we know what happened there. They don't stop talking about being vegan and they don't stop talking about doing CrossFit. Well, in Bitcoin, it's no different. Anyone who's ever bought Bitcoin continues to talk about it. So when that community was 1,000 people, it grew to 5,000 and then 10,000 and then 20,000 and then 40,000. And it really grew exponentially. And I think the truth behind launching Web3 communities is you need that strong community group with high net promoter scores. And the only way for us to build that is to really focus on a small core collective of people who are ideologically aligned with the ideas I'm sharing here and want to be part of building a true Web3 platform. So that's why we came up with this Genesis key concept. It's a 1 of 10,000 NFT. Every key is different. It's this beautiful animated NFT, and it unlocks your user experience. With your Genesis key, you get 2 profile mints. You get the Ashton profile or the Addison profile or the Block West Capital profile, whatever you'd like to mint. You get governance rights and then much more, which we haven't released yet, but it'll be part of roadmap and stuff we could talk about down the line.
Incredible, Jordan. And with those Genesis keys, is that happening right now?
It's happening right now. The results have been amazing. I can actually share some with you. This is one of the first interviews where I can share them publicly. So we started with this auction concept where we were very alarmed at these very harmful mint processes that we saw in the market. A couple things were happening. One, prices for NFT mints got exorbitant. I mean, really just in a place where they shouldn't be, where users shouldn't be minting above 5 to 10 ETH for a new project. And we didn't like that. I mean, think about that. You're paying $15,000 to $30,000 to mint these new NFT projects. We didn't want this to be cash grabby. We also didn't want to go the proof way or the Moonbirds way, where we just pick a static price and ask everybody to mint it. That was 2.5 ETH. We wanted to come up with a mechanism that we knew would protect users and that would get a fair price out of it. So we did a 48-hour blind auction that has just finished. That finished late last night, which is why I've got some bags under my eyes. And it was an amazing process. Bids were submitted from all over the world. And what we did, Ashton, is we took all the bids and we ranked them from highest to lowest. And we then did something crazy. We took the 3,001st bid. Only 3,000 keys were going to those in the white list. So we took the first loser bid, the 3,001st bid, and we made that the price of the entire auction. So it has an interesting mechanism. The top 3,000 winners all pay the same price, and all of them pay less than what they bid, which is how that mechanic works. We then decided to take that median price, the 1,500th bid of the 3,000 winning keys, and that price becomes the public sale mint price, because the public sale is not an auction at all. It's just a sale. The numbers I think validate the mechanism. The whitelist ended. And the 3,001st bid was half an ETH, 0.5 of an ETH. The median price is 1.2 ETH, which is less than 50%. It's almost 60% off of where the recent Moonbirds mint was. So I'm very excited about the mechanism. I'm very excited about others in the NFT space adopting our mechanism or some version of our mechanism to protect the community and protect prices from getting out of control. So that just happened. If you are listening to this, you like these ideas and you want to participate, you still can. Our public mint actually opens up on May 2nd. So that is this coming Monday. And we're really excited about the remaining 7,000 or so keys going to the public, and then finally launching governance in the community and all of that.
Incredible, Jordan, and congratulations on that first part of the Genesis. That sounds great because it's more transparent in a democratic process, and there's definitely an issue that I've seen with NFT launches not being fair and transparent. So congratulations on the successful mechanism. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing that public launch. And then once that happens, what are the next steps moving forward for NFT.com? I feel like there's so much to do.
Yeah, well, this isn't the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning. It's really the beginning of the beginning. It's the point in which all of this has to start. But our work has literally just started. We have a very big vision, Ashton, and people are going to call me crazy, but I am an idealist that believes that this DAO will be responsible for getting NFT.com into a position of being a global brand. Now, if we back up, it's already a marquee brand, right? It's right up there, I would argue, with crypto.com, blockchain.com, bitcoin.com, ftx.com. These are marquee brands that some of them have their logos on the side of NBA stadiums in the United States. I really believe NFT.com can be up there among some of the greatest and most important tech companies, not just in this country, but on this planet. But I think that it needs to have users in a position where they feel in control, or they feel like they have a voice, and that the platform is open source and works for them, not against them. And that's kind of the insurance policy of launching this as a DAO. Our plan is to really stand up that governance first and foremost, to operate in a default state of radical transparency. We actually released the full breakdown of all the bids in our auction from highest to lowest, just so people could see. Our highest bid was 94 ETH, right? And it's important that people can see that. And it's important that they can see the lowest bid in the breakdown, so they can see all of that and they can trust the process and trust the system. Communities can't be built without trust. So from the very beginning, once this key minting is over, we will stand up public town halls. These public town halls will discuss our product roadmap, Ashton. We're literally going to allow these Genesis key holders into the organization to start saying, hey, why are we doing this? Shouldn't we be considering this feature set? Shouldn't creators get self-service NFT, NFT features and functionality? All of that needs to be thought through, and those Genesis key holders have now a voice in how we determine where focus is spent. We're still a team. We're still a team that is largely led by myself and some other leaders in this organization. But to be clear, my title here can be a little bit misleading. I am the CEO of a company called Immutable Holdings behind, NFT.com, but I'm not the CEO of NFT.com. I'm the founder of NFT.com. Our users, our Genesis key holders, are the CEOs. They're the ones who really make the shot. And I think that's a really important distinction. So what you can look forward to after having a Genesis key, after being in the community, is, WAGMI United was formed to buy an English or European football club. Lynx DAO was formed to buy a golf course. Krause House DAO was formed to buy the Chicago Bulls. These are organizations formed with a very singular, narrow focus. NFT.com was formed to have a platform really controlled by its users, with the goal of building one of the largest tech companies in the world. What if it wasn't a billionaire or a tech conglomerate behind, Facebook or OpenSea, and it wasn't a bunch of venture capitalists like Excel Partners or A16Z or Sequoia Capital? What if it was the users? And I think we're going to see platforms like that. We already are. Uniswap is among them. MakerDAO is one of the largest stablecoins in the world, is among them. We are starting to see the advent of multi-billion-dollar decentralized ecosystems, and NFT.com is going to be one of the next ones.
Incredible, Jordan. And for the rest of the Genesis keys for the May 2nd public auction, what is the best way for people to learn more and to get involved in it?
So what I love so much about this domain name is so much concern about crypto security really revolves around links, and links being sent around that aren't what they may appear to be. These are phishing scams. People trying to get you to go to, Coinbase, but base is spelled incorrectly, right? With like a Z instead of an S, and get you to connect a wallet to it, or, type in your private key or your password so they can compromise your main account. It's really ridiculous, the kind of scams that we have there. And we're experiencing a lot of that ourselves. With NFT.com, we don't even need to send you a link. Just simply type in NFT.com in your browser. It's 6 letters that need to be typed in, plus a little period there. But if you just type in NFT.com, you can find out all the information about the project. We are a fully doxed team. I think it's ridiculous in 2022 to launch a project not as a docs team. Our reputations are on the line. You can see what we have done from our first startups to our recent startups. Several of the team members actually come from the Hedera Hashgraph ecosystem and were with me on the founding team of Hedera. And we care deeply about what we built. We did things the right way at Hedera. We went to the regulators first. We told them what we were going to do. We're taking the same regulatory approach with this DAO. I like to sleep at night. I don't want to be looking over my shoulder worried about, regulators are after me or law enforcement's after me. I have a family and I value, the right thing to do is always the right thing. So join us. If you like it, go to NFT.com. And if you don't get a key on May 2nd, surely secondary markets will form around it on LooksRare or OpenSea or your favorite platform, and eventually on NFT.com, where we hope that's the platform you end up using in the future instead of OpenSea and LooksRare.
Incredible, Jordan. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on. All the best with the public auction on May 2nd, the rest of the Genesis keys. I'll be checking out the public auction as well, and everything going forward. As you mentioned, it's the beginning of the beginning. There's so much to do, and I really appreciate you taking the time, and let's definitely follow up in the near future.
Thanks so much for having me.